Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Tasha from the Backyardigans. In order to create this, you will need about 83 of a dark orange band, 6 of the light orange band. I'm using the Rainbow Loom Neon Orange, and about 112 yellow rubber bands. So if you want to go ahead and grab your supplies, then we can go ahead and get started. The first part that we'll be working on is the top of the mouth, and in order to do that we will be using the yellow bands. So you're going to come down with 2 yellow bands on the left twice, and repeat that on the right. And you will then bring it into the center with 2 yellow, and repeat that on the other side as well. We're then going to fill in the center pegs with 2 bands. We then need to create the nostrils, and you'll be doing that on the hook. So you're going to take a single yellow and create 4 loops, and repeat that again. So a single yellow, 4 loops, and we're going to pull that onto a single yellow. And you will place that from the 3rd peg on the right to the 3rd on the left, and then go ahead and separate those 2 sets of bands onto each side. And we are also going to do some crossover bands, so taking 2 bands on this peg you'll create your triangle, and that's 2 bands. And we're going to cap this one off here with 3 loops. Once we've done that, we're ready to start looping. So go in under your capping band, grabbing the first 2 bands and bringing them forward. And then you can go ahead and loop this straight up the center. Go back in the capping, grab the next 2 bands. Mine go to the left. And then I'm going to go ahead and loop this straight up. And then go back in and do your other side. Missed one. Then you can go ahead and loosen this up from the bottom. And we are going to grab our holding hook, and you want to remove it from underneath. And this creates the top of her mouth. Now we'll go ahead and do the bottom. We're using yellow bands again. So taking 2 yellow bands, coming down on the left, and repeat that on the right. And bring them into the center. And taking 2 more yellow bands on the left, and 2 more on the right, and then coming back into the center again. Then going to take 2 bands from the 3rd center peg to the 4th center peg, and we're going to cap that off, creating 4 loops. And for our crossover bands, you're going to grab a single yellow. We're going to double it from the 2nd peg on the right to the 2nd on the left. And we're going to do the same thing on the 3rd peg on the right to the 3rd on the left. This is also a single double. Once this is in place, we can go ahead and begin looping. So go in under the capping band and coming forward. You can go ahead in here, grab the first two bands, bringing them over to the left, and the next two over to the right. And then we can go in and loop up our left side. And then go back for the right. We can then go ahead and loosen this up. Grab our holding hook. And this is the bottom of her mouth. And we're going to go ahead and set that aside. The next part that we will be working on is her arms and her body attachments, which I have not made in advance this time. So I'll go ahead and make them both with you. For her arms, we're doing 2 yellow bands, and you're going to come down 5 times. And we can go ahead and do the other arm. Just go down the next peg and do the same thing, 2 bands, 5 times. And we are going to cap these off, creating 3 loops. And we can go ahead and loop those up. And we can go ahead and remove those and set those aside for later. And for her body extensions, we'll be using the dark orange bands. And you are going to do the same thing you did with the arms, so 2 orange bands, and we're coming down 5 times. And then skip and go to the next peg and do that again 5 times. And we are going to cap these off again with 3 loops. And then we can go ahead and loop these up as well. And we can remove these and set them aside. Now we can go ahead and move on to the main part of the body. So we're going to be starting at the top with our yellow bands. And I'll be using 2 bands unless I specify otherwise. So you're coming down on your diagonal with 2 yellow bands. And repeat that going to the right. And then coming down on the left twice with 2 yellow bands. And then coming into the chin peg. then repeat that on the right side as well. And then we can go ahead and fill in the center. We are then going to switch to our dark orange bands. And you're coming off the chin peg with 2 orange bands going to the left and 2 going to the right. And we are then going to come down to the left-hand side 5 times with the 2 dark orange bands. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then on the right, we're going to repeat the same thing. And then we're going to fill in the center, coming off the chin peg with 2 dark orange bands. And then we're switching to 3. So 3 of the dark orange, 3 more, and 3 more. And then the next peg is also 3. And then on the 2 side pegs, we're going to bring it in to the center to close this portion off. And then 2 bands to close up the center. And we're going to cap this peg here, creating 3 loops. So 1, 2, 3. We're then going to switch to our yellow bands, coming down on this peg on the left, the 5th peg from the bottom with 2 yellow bands, and we're going to come down with the yellow bands 3 times total. So 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to repeat that on the right. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do her shoes, which would be 2 orange bands, or no, I'm sorry, 3. I did 3 orange bands on the bottom there, and 3 on the right. And we are going to cap these off, creating 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. We then are going to start placing some of the arms and the body extension. So for the body extension itself, you have the top where we finished hooking, and then you have this capping band. The top piece is going to hook on this peg here, which is the 5th peg from the bottom. And we're going to put both of those on. And then you're going to put your hook through the capping band, and we are going to pull this up to the peg that is right below the shoulder peg. Repeat that on this side. So the capping band attaches to the 5th peg from the top. We can then place the arms off the 2 shoulder pegs. And that is the 4th peg from the top. And in order to do her eyes, I am using the white E-beads. So you're going to take those, grab a single yellow, pinch it, and feed your rubber band through. And we are going to place this from the 2nd peg on the left to the 2nd on the right. Separate the eyes, and then grabbing the top part of the band, you hook it over the 2nd peg in the center. We also need to create her ears. So in order to do that, you're going to take a yellow rubber band, create 4 loops on your hook, repeat it again. So 4 more loops. We're grabbing another yellow. You're going to single double and pull all of this on. Just like that. And grab another yellow, single double, and pulling this on. You will then take these and hook them to the very top right peg. And we're going to do that again for the other ear. So a single yellow, creating 4 loops, another single yellow, then a single double. I'm going to pull all of these on. And another single double. And we then place this one on the very top left peg. We then are going to place our crossover bands. We'll be using the dark orange for that. So these will be single crossover bands. So starting on the peg below the arms, create a triangle, and we're going to just do this all the way down. Stopping on the 5th peg from the bottom. And then we also needed to add in some of these light orange bands for the accents on her dress. And in order to do that, you're going to take your light orange. You're going to create, I did 3 loops, and I'm going to do that again. So 3 more loops with my light orange, taking a dark orange, pulling those on, and I'm going to place this from the peg right below the arms, straight across, and just separate 1 on the left, kind of like you do with eyes and stuff, and 1 on the right. And we're going to do that again. So a single light orange, create 3 loops, do that again, 3 loops, single dark orange, I'm going to pull these on. And this time I'm going to skip this peg and go to the next. And we are going to separate this. And we're going to do that one more time. So a light orange, 3 loops, and again, 3 loops. Single dark orange, and I'm going to place that down here on the last 2 pegs and separate. Now that everything is in place, we can go ahead and begin looping. So we're going to go in under these bottom cap bands. And remember, the shoes have 3 bands, so we want to make sure we get all 3. If you need to, hold the capping band down and come up. And we can go ahead and just loop up to the top of the leg. And repeat that on the other side. We're then going in under this capping band, grabbing the first 2 bands and bringing them forward. The next 2 are going to go to the right. And the next 2 to the left. And we can then go ahead and loop straight up the center. Go back down, in through all of these bands here, grabbing only the bottom 2 and bringing them forward, and then go ahead and loop straight up the body. And I'm going to do that again on the left. I missed a band. You're then going in through all of these bands, grabbing the first 2. I find sometimes it's easiest to grab these bands and hold them back with my fingers so that I can see what I'm doing. And the first ones will be going forward. My next 2 go to the right, and my last 2 go to the left. You're then going to push all of this down, out of the way, and we want to grab the bottom piece of our mouth. And if you recall, the top here, there was 6 bands on each, let's see, I'm sorry, 4 bands on each side. So the first 4 are going to go over here on the right, on the 3rd peg from the top, and then pull the mouthpiece down below the chin peg and hook the other 4 on the left. And then for the top, this one had 3 sets of 4 bands, here, here, and here. They're going to go on the left 3rd, center 3rd, and right 3rd pegs. Once that's in place, we're going to go through the center peg, and we can go ahead and loop up to the top. Then we're going to go in through all of these bands, making sure we're only grabbing the bottom 2. Oh no, I lost the band. These bands in here get really tight. Okay. I think I got the right one. And then I'm going to go ahead on this side to make sure I don't lose any bands. Grabbing the bottom two and bringing those forward. And then we can go ahead and loop her up the rest of the way. And then grabbing a single yellow, I'm going to go through the top. And create my slip knot. And then she's ready to come off the loom. And once she is off, you can go ahead and flip her over and pull her slip knot through her back and hide it or tuck it in, whatever you want to do with it. You can pull her arms out. Now, as you can see, her dress comes out really poofy on this design, so this is going to be totally up to you. As you can see on this one, she's a lot tighter. So if you like her with the poofier dress, you can leave it. I actually loomed this one a little bit differently, as in direct, like I actually overlaid them on top of each other, so the holding bands pulled her in. But I feel as though her body on this one looks more like, I don't know, I guess a bathing suit instead of a dress. So if you don't want her as poofy, you can go through the back. And I'm going to take my hook through one of these and then one of these bands here. Grab an orange. And I'm going to create a slip knot here. And then you can just hide that back here somewhere, wherever you'd like. Alright, go tighten up. And then just pull her tight until you get, as you can see here, it kind of brought it in and gives you more of a poof on the side for her dress. And then you just do the same thing on this side. So go in through one of these bands. And then I'm going to create a slip knot. And then once I've tucked that in, you can even take this, stretch it, create a knot on her back side to make sure it's held in place nice and tight. Like so. And then just keep tucking those in until they're up and underneath. So as you can see, it gives her dress more of a dress effect as opposed to a bathing suit effect. Then you want to grab your Sharpie, and then on her mouth, you'll actually stick your finger in the center of the top and push up, which will cause the mouth to come down some. Push her eyes forward so that you don't end up drawing on the bands. and just draw her pupils. Just like that. And stretch her arms out some. You can push your finger in the center of the bottom of the mouth, which will even that section out some. And then pull her legs down some. But there is Tasha from the Backyardigans. I do hope you like her.